Hello, I'm Kai Avery, and welcome back to Ka Intuitive YouTube channel. I have had a week. This is why I'm filming from my car. I am currently just waiting to pick up my kid because today he called from school and had fallen and needed a change of clothes because he fell in the mud. And so I brought him some change of clothes, and then he took 500 years to like wash off his Crocs. And then I could, it's just been wild. So I haven't been able to go back home and like actually sit and film. And then I was like, I have like these 2 papers that are due for school. And my whole plan today was to basically like take my kid to school, go to the gym, do my papers, or take my kid to school, do 1 paper, go to the gym, do my next paper after the gym, and then do my YouTube video, my weekly YouTube video. That was not gonna happen, like at all. So I've got my little matcha that I got before filming just to give myself a little grace in a cup. Okay, my little oat milk light ice matcha. What's good? While I wait for my kiddo. And so this message is probably gonna be kind of quick. I also don't have any tarot cards with me or oracle cards with me. And in this moment, like when I was driving to go get my matcha, I was like, does it matter? Does it matter? Like, oh, you need that? Like you need a physical tool in order to tap into spirit? Never, right? We can tap into spirit and deliver a message to ourselves or to somebody else in a matter of moments, right? With it, wherever we are in this world, whatever we're doing, we can have a spiritual moment, right? All you need to do is pause and tap in. And so earlier this week, today's Thursday, earlier this week on maybe Monday or Tuesday, I had pulled some cards at night. I like to pull my cards at night for the next day, just for like my own energy read of like, what are we looking at? What's going to be my goal, my kind of like the energy that I'm going to be working with, or the kind of energy to like look out for, whatever. It's just one of many ways that I plan my days, right? But like sometimes our plans just don't go the way that we want them to, the way that we think they should, whether it's outside issues, right? Outside variables, or it is, something that we just, it was an oversight on our part, what have you. It doesn't matter. It's not always going to go as planned. But either way, anyway, earlier this week, I had pulled cards, and the phrase that kept being used and wanting to like be looked at is the idea of usable energy. Okay. And at the time when I saw that message, I was like, hey, I don't know what that means, right? I be getting frustrated. Let me just be real with you guys. Like, I'm going to be so real. Like, I get frustrated sometimes because I'm like, I just need, like, everything is, so often in the spiritual realm of things are broken down into symbolism, right? Not always. Sometimes it is pretty direct, but like, oftentimes it's not. It's to be sat with a little bit longer. It's to meditate on a little bit further, right? And to like hold in a quiet space so that the message can kind of grow in order to land correctly as it's intended to with you, right? And so, but sometimes when I'm like really searching for guidance, or I really feel like I'm like grasping to like have an understanding or to just get something done even, right? Like I'm full just, openness here, right? Like there are times where I'm like, I just want to get it done, right? I just need to know like, what's the vibe for tomorrow? Boom, boom, boom. Like I got things to work on, right? And that's not always the right way to come to spirit. And I definitely know that it's not always the right way to, come towards anything, right? It's like in this rushed arena, this rushed energy of like, I need to know so that I can like grab that, then, but either way, the message was still delivered and it was usable energy, even though I was like, I don't understand what that means. And that's frustrating. So now I have something that I need to think about or kind of sit with for a little bit longer. And this week has been a theme of usable energy. I just didn't recognize it at the time for what it was. And what I have understood it to be is what is usable for you right now, where you're at. Like almost understanding, if we want to look at the magician card, right? And when I take in the magician card, The magician basically is given all tools in order to build or manifest or create, right? They're given the chalice, the sword, the rod, the pentacle, right? They're given all the elements that they could possibly need in order to alchemize and manifest and create their vision and bring it to life. They already have the tools within them, right? They needn't look anywhere else, like except for within, right? So understanding that, how can we be the magicians in our own lives? How can we be engaged enough and in the present moment with ourselves enough to recognize what our usable energy is right here and right now? And so in this space today, my usable energy is the need to, like, I know, right? Like, my main goal today is, and was, and still is, to get this YouTube out there, right? On time, as I needed it to be, right? Because I really just am pushing myself a little further to maintain my goals no matter what, even because there's always going to be blockages, there's always going to be moments, and it's really easy sometimes, I think, in the spiritual community to kind of be like, well, sometimes it's just not meant to be, and like we got to go with the flow and but then other times, and like that's true. But there's also another truth to that. It's like, when are we giving ourselves a little too much leeway, a little too much permission to kind of be loosey-goosey, right? And be like, oh, it's in the name of like flexibility and being in my flow state. But the reality is that, like, I'm staying there a little too long where things aren't able to grow, right? And I personally believe, and I think that this would be probably true for some others, that like I know when I'm in my flow state and when I am really just kind of like surrendering responsibility, right? I know what the difference is between that. When I am like, I don't want to deal with this versus like, I am not called to deal with this at this time. One comes from a place of empowerment, and I feel that way. I feel an uprightness in it. I feel aligned with it. It feels like it's kind of like a channeled thing, a channeled energy, and a pointed energy, versus I'm kind of running from this. I'm trying to detach from it. I'm trying to kind of push it away, right? It's more of, it's very physical. It's very like much in the 2-dimensional energy of just like humanness, right? And humanity and what we're prone to do when we don't want to look at something, right? And so there's a difference, right? And so, and in this case, yes, I could have gotten away totally fine with being like, not tonight, I can't do it tonight, I have like so many other responsibilities, you know. But it's just, I had to look at it and say like, no, I'm always going to have responsibilities. Something's always going to go wrong. There's always going to be, you know, I'm always going to have a son who's going to play really hard at school and trip and fall in the mud and need clothes, right? I'm always going to have a husband that fixed the problem on the computer that allowed, I say it like this, he would get so irritated with me because he was like, I did fix it. It's not my fault that the tech is dumb, right? But anyway, there was a problem with the computer this morning, which did not allow me to do at least one of my writing assignments before I went to the gym. So I was just like, you know, but you know, there's always going to be these like outside factors and these things that will keep us away from the goals that we set for ourselves, right? And it's like, okay, in this moment where my goal is over here, but I'm over here, what is the usable energy? What can I take with what I have right now, right? What sometimes, and this is me right now, all I have is time. Sometimes all I have is time, right? That's a usable energy, time. The space to do something, right? I have my phone, it's fully charged, okay? You know, going back to what my goal was today was like, I gotta make my YouTube channel, I gotta make an episode, right? Gotta make a video. I have the time, I have the space, which is my car, right? I have the phone holder that sits in my car. You know, there's no reason, right? And I have my spirit, right? I have spirit. I can tap into that energy. I don't need tarot cards. And I want to go back to when I was like buying my little like matcha, and I was like, well, I don't even have cards here. I don't even have, you know what I mean? I don't have the physical thing. You know, I don't have the la-di-da, like, you know, whatever. I don't have the, it's just so funny how easy my mind, and maybe some of us have this in common, how quickly we will disqualify ourselves, right? It's like, okay, I'll just make a video and it'll be weird, but I'll just make the video because it can still be quality. It doesn't have to, I don't have to have oracle cards. I don't have to be sitting in a space with candles lit and having it all beautiful all the time, because that's just not real. That's just not what it is. And like, what is my goal as a content creator? What is my goal as a spiritual person is to be more authentic. And if I'm unwilling to show my authenticity in these spaces, how could I even begin to share a message of authenticity with others and encouraging them to be their authentic selves? You know, it's like, what is it that we want to actually show versus, you know, what we think we should show? Or how do we want to show up to a space versus how we think we're supposed to show up to a space, right? And in this case, for myself, I, you know, almost didn't do this because I was like, I don't have the things. And Spirit was like, oh, but you do. But you do, because you were born with them, right? Like, as far as being able to tap into Spirit and deliver a message. And not only that, but Spirit's like, you already did that part. You did that part earlier this week. You just didn't realize that it was a message for everybody. It wasn't just about you. So, as I said, this is going to be an extremely short message. Sorry, I'm getting text messages. It's going to be an extremely short message this week. That's what I can do. Absolutely. But I'm going to show up, right? It might not be in my big 30-minute spiel. It might not be with cards. You know, it may not be with a cute little background and like a cute little cover photo and like all this other stuff, but it's here. You know, it's here, it's real, it's experience, right? And that's really what my channel is about, is sharing experience and hoping that that helps other people kind of get out of their own way. Because there's going to be so many times in your life where you're going to set a goal for yourself, and you've probably already experienced this. I know I have, where you're going to set a goal for yourself, and then there's going to be 1,000 things that seem like it's in the way, but it oftentimes is just our perception of it, right? I'm like, I'm not going to get anything done today. That's very dramatic. It's 2:15 p.m. The day is not over. There are things that you still will get done. I will definitely get done my papers, right? I will definitely get a very well cooked meal done for my family, because I love doing that, especially at least once a week. I love to make like a really nice home cooked meal that takes me like a while to make, right? I just love that. It's part of me expressing gratitude for my home, for the fact that I am able to cook a meal, the fact that I'm able to like create, you know, just all of these things. It's a form of celebration. And people are pulling up right now, and I want to shut my window because I'm like, hang on, y'all. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Excuse me, that was gross. But yes, let this just be, learn from me, learn from this experience with me, what usable energy is. What is your usable energy right now in this moment? Can you think of a goal that you have, which is, I hate to be like all like coachy about it, but you know, I'm just going with it. Think of a goal that you have, or an intention that you set for yourself, and think about what it feels like to see. Okay, how do I want to say this? Sorry. Think about the intention that you're trying to set for yourself. Think about the path in order to get there. And then see what you have around you right now that'll bring it closer to you, that'll pull it closer to you, right? Accio. if you know Harry Potter, but also hashtag, you know, if you play Hogwarts Legacy, I'm all about that. I love Hogwarts Legacy. I actually am about to beat the game right now. I'm fighting the dragon. Girl, it's difficult. Let me tell you, it has not been easy. I've been taking like massive breaks from it because I get so frustrated. But anyway, I digress. But yes, Accio, your motherfucking dreams, which means pull it close in Harry Potter speak, right? Pull them closer. You know, you're able to do that because it's already yours. It's just about bringing it into fruition. The idea is already yours. Sorry, this woman just like looked at me like, what are you doing, girl? Actually, she probably didn't even care about me. I'm just very self-obsessed sometimes. One other way that I was thinking about usable energy, and this was actually last night during my journaling, I thought that I would get on here and talk about not just usable energy, but talk about the thing that has been plaguing me this week so deeply. And these are inner child. And I know I've been talking about inner child a lot, but like, that's just, sorry, I thought the person was about to hit my core. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but inner child work this last week, I mean, it's been like just heavily highlighted. And the way that energy works, the way that spirit works, it doesn't just move on just because we're on a new day, right? You know, what is time, right? And just because it's like, I'm a content creator, I'm not going to be just shooting out new shit just because, like, that's what it is, right? If it's a beating a dead horse moment, it's a beating the dead horse moment, because the message needs to be heard. It needs to be said. And sometimes it takes saying the message in 1,000 different ways before it lands for each person that it's meant to land for, right? How I say it now might be different from how it's said next week or last week or what have you, right? So like, understand. And I want to say that, like, for real, there will be times that I will stay I will hover on a topic, because that's just what the reading is. That's just what the vibes are. That's just what needs to be said, right? And I am a vessel, baby. I'm not making this shit up, right? And so for myself, because I believe in oneness, that is my main baby. My shoulder is starting to hurt. I kind of tweaked my shoulder at spin today, and it was a lot, and now it's kind of getting achy, but that's fine. It's me. Somebody's about to park next to me, and I act so offended. Like, excuse me, it's a parking lot. Like, I'm so dramatic. But anyway, they didn't even park next to me. Look at this. The wild, the crazy, the just totally unhinged energy of me today. I apologize if my energy is like way too much for you today. I'm so sorry. It's too much for me too, girl. So we're in it together. But anyway, for oneness, as I believe it, if I'm experiencing it, then that means somebody else is too, right? And I believe that, like, how we come together is we share our experiences with each other. I've seen it in my life as this, way of being, of sharing your experience, strength, and hope, right? And what it can do for people. I also see it just as, it just makes sense to me. Like, why, like, in a spiritual sense of like us coming from one source, or us being here on this earth together, of course we're going to feel each other's energy. We're going to feel each other's pain. We're going to be able to recognize it, right? And so me telling my story, or me expressing like where I'm at this week, maybe it'll help you, because you'll be like, damn, me too, same, right? And that's not because I'm like so fucking like, oh God, what a witch, right? Like, she's so on that upper shit, right? She's so vibrationally sound. It's really just about recognizing somebody can probably extract some tools from what I have to say, in the same way that I extract tools from what other people have to say all the time. It's just teaching each other, each one teach one, So anyway, what I thought that this message was going to be about mostly, and I'll probably even be down to make a second video tomorrow or what have you about this, or like at least over the weekend or whatever, just like no expectations, no, you know what I mean? Like, I'll get to it if I get to it, kind of a thing. But inner child work and shadow work within the inner child, and those like those darker feelings that we might feel, that, for me, it's been like heavy on the fear of abandonment, heavy on fear of abandonment, fear of loss. Growing up, I was always like terrified of something happening to my grandmother. She raised me, and I was always like, oh my God, like, if something happened to her, like, what would happen to me? Like, where would I go? What would my life look like? And like, as a little kid, that's like, I'm like, where is my protection? Is anybody going to protect me? Right. And that was a very real fear that I had. And so like how it's translating right now in my life, because I've stepped into a new space, a new energy, a new chapter in my life. I'm very much in a 9 life, like cycle right now. Because of that, there is a lot more, there's like fear that's amplified more than normal, where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm afraid to be successful. I'm afraid to have people to have people know me, to have people see me. I'm afraid of what that could do. I'm afraid to let people in, because I'm afraid of I'm afraid of being abandoned. I'm afraid of being rejected. Like, it's just all of these insecurities and these feelings that stem from deep down in my inner child, right? And so not only has my inner child been crying out for just like attention of wanting to play, but it's also been crying out to be able to tell her story. She's also been crying out to tell her story. I don't know why I'm like it and like this like removed being. It's not removed at all. It's me, but little me, right? And so I know that this, is kind of all over the place, and I apologize for that. And I hope that like what I'm saying kind of like resonates or what have you. And I probably will end up making a second video just so I can kind of like be calmer and like more deeper dive into what that inner child looks like. Because there were cards that I wanted, like specific shadow work cards that I wanted to work with and like really get into it. And I still want to do that. But I definitely wanted to ensure and make sure that I at least got a video out. Not that I'm trying to rush anything, but because I'm making good on the commitments that I made to myself and to my higher power, that yes, I want this for my life. And how I have to say it is in action. I have to affirm it and reaffirm it over and over and over again, right? In my actions, not just in what I say, not in just what I pray, not in just what I, candles I light, right? I show up for it and I showcase in action what it is that how I see my life going, what it is that I want for myself, So that's kind of it for right now, I think. Yeah, but I really hope that that made sense. I'm sorry if that was like so chaotic. I don't blame you if you're like, wow, girl. But yeah, I will probably, like I said, like get on here a little later, maybe tonight, if I'm feeling it, or tomorrow night or something, and do like an inner child, like an extra little extended, I don't know if I would even call it an extension necessarily, because I don't even know if the two are connected. I just have to kind of sit with it a little bit. Oh, that's why I was talking about that though. The whole thing with the inner child is like, that's what I thought my usable energy was, where I was like, okay, I have to go through this process anyway. So I might as well bring the collective in on it. Right. And because maybe we can go through this process together. And that's why I thought to myself like, oh, perhaps I'm to share this aspect with the collective in order for us to like kind of bridge some things together and come to some recognition or realizations about our inner childs together, right? And for me, that looked like usable energy, the sorrow, the sadness, and sharing that. And we all, what I would say for right now in this moment, just tapping into what your usable energy is. Like I said, if you have a goal or an intention that you're trying to work towards, but you feel stuck, you feel like, oh, I can't, like, I don't have, I'm just missing these items and then I could do XYZ. You might be surprised if you take the time to actually like kind of like look at it from a very open space and like an open perspective, and just kind of like without the bells and whistles of your work, right? For me, the bells and whistles would be tarot cards or oracle cards, or like I said, a cute setup or candles or what have you, right? Like right now, there's no bells and whistles. It's all stripped down. I haven't even, let me just be so for real with you, I haven't even showered after my gym yet, because like right when I got home, I made a meal for myself, and then I got a call from my son's school saying, hey, he fell in the mud, he needs a change of clothes. So I had to like put other clothes on really quick, so I was at least out of my gym clothes, and rush here, right? So it's just, it hasn't gone at all, how I was hoping for this time to go, but for this day to go, but that's okay, because this is the part where we show up anyway. This is the part where we do the work anyway. We don't wait for it to be perfect. We don't wait. We don't, say, oh, I'll just get to it later. Oh, I'll just have to miss this one because things aren't perfect. Things aren't exactly as they should be or exactly as we think they should be, really. Because they really are exactly as they should be. I should be here picking up my child. I should be there as a mother, making sure he has his change of clothes. I should be all of those things. I should have gone to the gym. Like that, none of those things should have been missed, right? And I should be here on YouTube sharing this, because there is for sure at least one other person in this world who is working on something or working towards something, but feels like they're missing something, or feels like, I'm just not going to do it tonight. I'll just do it later or whatever. And I'm here to tell you, don't do that. And like, I don't know what it is, but don't interrupt your process, right? Don't interrupt your process just because it's not going to come out the way that you hope it would, or that you think it should, or whatever. And I know I've said that like 1,000 times, but I'm just saying it, like I said, all different ways, because you never know how it's going to hit for each person, right? It's a collective thing. It's not just one size fits all. So anyway, with that, I'm going to shut up. I got to jump in this line to pick up the kiddo, but I hope you're well. Be on the lookout for my video, my inner child video, my shadow work, video. And, I every Thursday I will be posting, and, I hope that you can tune in on the next one. So thank you for listening.